Time is precious, and we are administering this committee through sign-up. We have 20 bills today, 2 bills on consent. One has been pulled, that's item 19, AB 1260. So the first person that has signed up is Assemblymember Santiago. Please join us. You have item 7, AB 292. Oh, at the podium. You get to stand at the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators, for allowing me to present today. Today I'm presenting on AB 292, which would ensure that every student in school would receive an adequate time to eat their lunch. Specifically, this bill says that upon the review each year of the Bell schedule, if a school determines that it's currently not giving students enough time to eat, that the school, in consultation with the district, shall identify and develop a plan to implement a way to give students adequate time to eat in school. California, this is actually really important to me, and particularly my district, where many of the students, this may be one of the only nutritious meals that they eat currently during the day. I believe this bill also saves money, specifically because if students are picking up their lunch and taking it over to the table and end up throwing it away instead of having adequate time to eat, it actually does save money and doesn't waste taxpayers' dollars on this particular item. Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to present today, and I would respectfully ask you for your aye vote. We have 2 witnesses today that will be brief and respectful of the committee's time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In support of the bill.
Good morning, members of the Senate Committee of Education. My name is Alessandra Yanetta, and I'm a next-year high school senior from San Diego and supporter of AB 292. I'm also a member of the Hand Up Teen Leadership Program, and I help to run a youth food pantry for other San Diegans in need. As a full-time student, I find that eating a healthy and nutritious meal can often be overlooked amidst the whirlwind of obligations during the school day. The tight school schedule, the academic responsibilities, club meetings, and other activities make it hard to find time to eat. The 30 minutes my school provides for us students to purchase and eat lunch fails to account for the long lunch lines that result from over 1,800 students lining up at fewer than 6 lunch windows. By the time many of these students get their food, more than half of lunch has already elapsed, leaving them with hardly enough time to finish their meals and get to the next class on time, often resulting in many students throwing away portions of their lunch or skipping the meal altogether. I personally bring my lunch from home in order to avoid waiting in these crowded lines. But even then, my club obligations often require me to spend what little lunchtime I have in classroom meetings, where teachers strictly prohibit eating. Also, not all of my fellow students are able to bring lunches from home. Many other students depend on the lunch program to provide a healthy, free, or reduced cost meal. Thus, students who wish to participate in clubs and other organizations on campus will have to accept that the short amount of lunchtime will force them to choose between eating lunch and participating in club meetings that enrich their academic experience. When students go hungry during the day, it's very hard to concentrate in class and learn. Many students depend on lunch to provide at least one healthy meal a day. It's not uncommon for teenagers to skip breakfast, and if they're also missing lunch because of a lack of time, that could mean some students are going almost 9 hours without eating a meal. Balance is the key to being a productive and happy student, and anything a school can do to facilitate health and balance within the lives of its students should be highly prioritized to ensure that all students are able to succeed. With the well-being of students across the state in mind, I ask for your yes vote on AB 292.
Thank you.
Hi, and my name is Tracy Patterson. I'm here on behalf of California Food Policy Advocates, the sponsors of AB 292. I will keep it brief in order to allow the students to have made comments, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have and urge your aye vote.
Thank you very much. In support.
Brad Strong, Children Now, in support.
Thank you. Any others in support of the bill? Is there opposition to the bill? In support?
Yes.
Okay, come forward, please.
Thank you. Ray Burnell with the California Catholic Conference in support.
Thank you. Okay. And the committee didn't receive any opposition. Is there any opposition that has not been registered? Seeing none, we don't have a quorum. Thank you for your presentation. When we get a quorum, I will recommend do pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we have Mr. Alejo. Mr. Alejo, you have 2 bills. Item 2, AB 101. And item 4, AB 215. AB 101?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, I'm here today to present AB 101, which establishes the Ethnic Studies Advisory Committee to make recommendations to the Board of Education on issues related to ethnic studies. The state superintendent will then submit a plan to the board for all high schools to have the ability to implement ethnic studies curriculum. Studies show that an education in ethnic studies encourages students to become academically engaged, increases their outcome on academic tests, improves graduation rates, and helps develop a sense of self-efficacy and personal empowerment. Further, this education increases a student's sense of American identity and what it means to be an American in today's diverse society. California has one of the largest and most diverse student populations in the nation, with ethnic minorities accounting for over 71% of the student population. Expanding the high school curriculum to include ethnic studies will help students relate to historical events and have a better understanding of their own history and the history of their neighbors. Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Sacramento, and many other school districts have already taken the initiative to push for an ethnic studies requirement. It is because of these extraordinary efforts of California's youth who have been advocating for ethnic studies at the local level that I'm honored to help build the foundation for an ethnic studies curriculum to be made available to all students statewide. Plain and simple, this bill recognizes the diverse makeup of our state and better prepares California's youth to be college and career ready. I believe, along with the Ethnic Studies Coalition, CTA, UTLA, and many other ethnic studies advocates, that this bill will serve as a foundation to give students the resources they need to become more engaged in school while learning about their own history and the history of their ethnic community's role in society. For years now, I have made the implementation of ethnic studies a legislative priority, and I'm happy to say that many of my colleagues in the Assembly have joined me in this effort. I hope that my colleagues in the Senate will also join this bipartisan ethnic studies movement that has become a priority for the Latino, Black, and API caucuses, and also jointly authored by Republican Cacho Achajian. Here with me today is Cecily Maillard Cruz, Asami Saito, and Margarita Berta Avila to discuss the value of ethnic studies from a student and educator perspective.
Thank you. In support of the bill, please.
Okay, great. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. My name is Cecily Maillard Cruz. I am the NEA Vice President of United Teachers Los Angeles. As a biracial woman who directly benefited from educators teaching me ethnic studies and immersing me with many other cultures, it was through those teachings that brought me to identify with my students when I became a teacher. I didn't have the benefit of having a curriculum for teaching ethnic studies, but I based my curriculum around the relationships I formed with my students and use their various cultures to guide discussions and novels that we studied. It enhanced our work and as those diverse stories were brought to life. We owe that to the students of California. Ethnic Studies is a vital program for every student. It fosters diversity, collaboration, mutual respect, understanding, and facilitates building bridges with their peers. Students make connections and friendships that are deep and lasting, but mostly students feel empowered by sharing their story, and that gives them a sense of pride and dignity. California's diverse student population enables us to fully realize ethnic studies for all. We can do this. When I testified in April, I was blown away by all the student voices testifying on behalf of this bill. Student voices matter, and if we are truly trying to bring the schools that California students deserve, AB 101 is the way to go. Now is the time to stand with our students, empower them to use their voices and rich histories to not only eradicate institutional racism, but foster collaboration and respect for where we've come and shine a light to where we're going. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll hold on for just a minute. We have a quorum, so please call the roll.
Lou?
Here.
Lou here. Runner? Here. Runner here. Block? Here. Block here. Hancock? Leyva? Here. Leyva here. Mendoza? Here. Mendoza here. Monning? Here. Monning here. Pan? Here. Pan here. Vidak? Here. Vidak here.
Great, okay. In support of the bill, please.
Hello and good morning, members of the Senate Education Committee. My name is Asami Saito, and I am an incoming junior at West Campus High School in the Sacramento City Unified School District. I'm a member of the Ethnic Studies Now Coalition and the current student school board member for the SEUSD. Through my experiences, I've been working with the Student Advisory Council to conduct a survey throughout the district of all 13 high schools. Through this, we came back with 1,000 surveys back throughout all the high schools. And through this, we gathered the need for an ethnic studies course. Throughout my entire schooling, history has always been very Eurocentric. History is written by the victors, those who conquered and colonized other people. Africans were only mentioned during the slave trade and the civil rights movement. Arab countries were never mentioned. Asian nations are only mentioned in such instances as the Opium War and the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Latin, Central, and Southern American nations are almost never mentioned or gone over. The Chicano struggle was never discussed in any of my classes, not a single one. I feel deprived. I feel left out. I feel foreign to our school district. Sacramento is the second most diverse city in the nation, and this reflects the changing diversity here in the state of California. And I feel this is a great reason, and this is critical to our education. It will not only teach students empathy and understanding of other cultures, but it will be a relatable class that will give so many self-worth and pride that many teenagers such as myself often forget and never knew existed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Others in support?
Yes. Good morning to the members of the Senate Education Committee. My name is Dr. Margarita Berta Avila. I am a professor of education at Sacramento State University, and I prepare students who want to enter the field as future high school teachers. I'm also a member of the Ethnic Studies Now Sacramento Coalition. I'm here today to speak on behalf of AB 101. I will focus my comments on one, the groundwork teacher education programs and ethnic studies departments in higher education have initiated in preparation of the passing of AB 101, and second, the overall impact an ethnic studies requirement would have on teachers of any subject matter in the future. Currently in teacher education and with the preparation of the passing of AB 101, teacher education programs and ethnic studies departments across the state with the leadership of Dr. Teresa Montaño, who currently was just elected Vice President for the California Teacher Association and is a professor of ethnic studies in Cal State Northridge, and also was a K-12 teacher, has begun initial discussions on the preparation of future ethnic studies teachers out in the field. And this has developed us in forming a consortium, initial discussions of a consortium across the state between departments at the different CSU campuses. Specifically, at Sacramento State, we have met several times, the teacher education program, specifically single subject, and ethnic studies department, and have begun working on the following: short-term recruitment pathways from ethnic studies to single subject credential programs, co-teaching of courses that emphasize our expertise in the context of ethnic studies and teaching pedagogy. Long-term, we have begun discussions regarding single subject ethnic studies certification and eventually credentialing. Most importantly, this last point I just mentioned is critical because currently how credentialing works in social science is that any social science teacher can teach any area in the area of social science. However, that doesn't necessarily mean, unless they've made a concerted effort, that they are qualified and have an expertise in ethnic studies. And so therefore, the need to have these discussions regarding an ethnic studies certification, credentialing. But Northridge, interestingly enough, has already begun this model and have an offer certification of ethnic studies. So there is an area in which we can look to. On that note, I also want to share that many districts under the Coalition of Ethnic Studies Now, but specifically here in Sacramento, have also begun groundwork in preparation and proactively with respect to AB 101. Our coalition is currently working with community members, professors at Sac State, both in the credentialing program and ethnic studies, students and teachers to develop the curriculum so that all teachers feel comfortable. The coalition has emphasized the importance of working in collaboration with Sacramento State to develop this professional plan. Lastly, as far as an individual who teaches in the credentialing program, having ethnic studies as a requirement for students in the high school will actually influence future teachers. Currently, I teach in a program in where 100 students out of 100, only 20% or 10% are teachers of color or have experiences relatable to their students in their classrooms. When we discuss with them issues of diversity and access, it's not common to them or understood. And so having classes in which they will be able to address these issues at a younger age then will influence their paradigm as they enter the credentialing program. Thank you very much, and I hope that you support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support, please, just identification.
Erica Hoffman on behalf of the California School Boards Association in support.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Ron Rapp on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers in support.
Thank you.
Eric Bakke with the Los Angeles Unified School District, also in support.
Thank you.
Peter Schilla with Californians Together in support.
Thank you.
Mark Carnero, Sacramento City Unified School District, also in support.
Tony Perez, Elk Grove Unified School District Board Member, in support.
Okay. All right. Any others in support? Is there opposition to the bill? Seeing none, are there questions from members? Senator Mendoza.
I just want to thank the author for bringing this forward and great presentations. I appreciate your comments. I wish I would have been in and out, but I am wholeheartedly in support of ethnic studies. Some of my school districts in my particular district already have adopted it. Having gone through some of those classes myself in college and wish I would have had those classes in high school. It would have made my journey a lot easier. I think your stories say a lot of what the students go through, especially if your first generation students are going to college for the first time and your family, nobody in your family has ever gone to the university or college. Having these type of ethnic studies really help you not only bond, but get to be a part of a group that actually you feel good being in school. And I think that it creates a lot of opportunity for students to build up their self-confidence, their self-esteem, build relationships that probably will last a lifetime. But I think just overall, I appreciate the bill, but appreciate the author for bringing it forward. And with that, Madam Chair, I would make a motion to support the bill.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions from members? Senator Runner.
Is this something each school district can do on their own now, and they just have chosen not to, ethnic studies?
Well, yes, currently state law only allows it to be discretionary, leaving it up to every district to do their, but to do, if they wanted to implement an ethnic studies class. The problem is that there's many deficiencies in the effort. If you were a teacher or there was a group of teachers in the school district who wanted to implement an ethnic studies class, if you're trying to find a curriculum that's appropriate for high school, none exists right now. Very few texts and curriculum exist that's established for high school students. And so that's what this task force is trying to do. It's having our task force to come together and for the state superintendent to oversee a framework to develop an ethnic studies curriculum for statewide. So this could be easier, and we could also make recommendations of how we could standardize this for schools all across the state.
So it's developing the framework, but yet not requiring each school district to do it.
No, that bill originally was mandating that every school offer a course in ethnic studies, but that was amended out of this bill in a previous committee.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank the author for bringing this forward and those here in support. And I think it's important to underscore the importance of this curriculum for all students. It's critically important to students who come from our diverse ethnic communities, but also for those from historically dominant communities in California. It's enriching and enhancing to all students, to all communities. So appreciate you bringing this forward and glad to vote in support at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others want to make a comment, question? Would you like to close?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to really thank the students who have really helped in this process from the very beginning, and the educators and the scholars that have also supported this effort. The reason LA Unified, San Francisco Unified, most recently Sacramento Unified, some smaller districts like El Rancho have all moved to make it a policy within their districts, to make it actually a requirement for graduation, or make it a requirement that every school offer an ethnic studies class. San Diego Unified, those students are organizing there. They will be next to implement this policy. Students in Salinas are working to make that a policy in all Salinas City high schools. So more and more of grassroots efforts is helping build this momentum, but we're also trying to address this statewide. We all know that one of the greatest achievements of the civil rights movement was establishing the first ethnic studies courses in California back in 1968 during the Third World Strike at San Francisco State University, later at UC Berkeley. And because of those efforts, today we have some of the most prestigious universities offering BA, master's, and PhD programs in ethnic studies all across our state. But the problem is that out of 1.7 million high school students, when we look how many high school students are able to take an ethnic studies course in their own schools, out of 1.7 million, less than 8,000 statewide have access to an ethnic studies course. So even though we made great progress in higher education, when it comes to high school, K through 12 education, we have a lot of work to do. But because California has one of the most diverse student populations, this is the moment for us to take it to another level here in California. And I think also this is really about preparing students for jobs of the 21st century, jobs in a global economy. How do you best prepare students to go to a diverse work environment, to a diverse university environment, than to have them learn from the rich histories of one another? Just to end, Madam Chair, when I look back at my own educational pathway, if I look at one moment that really had a profound impact on my own life, was when I had the opportunity to take an ethnic studies course in community college. It increased my motivation, it increased my outcomes, my GPA increased because I was able to learn from different communities across California. And what I found out is that many of our communities had the same struggles, the same hopes and dreams, the same efforts. So a lot of times we grew up thinking that we have a lot of differences. We found out that our families struggled and had the same shared experiences, especially in rural areas that I represent, like in the Salinas Valley, where Filipinos and Chinese and Italians all worked in agriculture the same way that my grandparents did in this country. So this is about really trying to provide those opportunities, those great motivational experiences to not take place once you go to college, but to allow those opportunities to take place earlier in earlier grades. With that, Madam Chair, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Just in terms of full disclosure, during the late 60s and 70s, I was one of those secondary teachers at El Cerrito High School in Richmond Unified School District a long time ago. And because I am an ethnic minority, taught those ethnic studies classes. And it was a very rewarding experience. The other issue that I think you might have is going to take a little longer is getting the University of California to accept an ethnic studies curriculum as part of their A to G requirements. So, you've got a long road to hoe, but I applaud you for your effort, and I'm recommending a do pass.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, it's been moved. Let's call the roll.
Do pass. Do pass to appropriations. Lou?
Aye.
Lou, aye. Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Block? Block, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mendoza, aye. Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Pan? Aye. Pan, aye. Vidak?
Aye.
Vidak, aye. That's 9-0.
Thank you.
Great, 9-0.
Thank you, Senators.